Getting started. I don't want to leave you without a starting point, but I also want you to be flexible and realize that there is no recipe or formula for making this work. The specific path you take is dependent on a lot of factors related to your own individual interests and your particular community. Things will look far different in a rural environment versus city environment versus suburb. The best you can do is learn from and be inspired by what others have done and adapt this information to your own situation. I also realize that one of your toughest challenges will be to get the first few other members to join your learning center. One approach might be to recruit the existing homeschoolers or unschoolers in your local area. While this sounds like a great approach, I should share a warning that Joel Hammond offers from his experiences with liberated learner centers. He writes, "First, it seems like existing homeschoolers are a great fit. They are already out of school, they get the whole idea of homeschooling, and they may have already gone through the detox period of becoming self-directed learners. All of these things are true. Existing homeschoolers have been some of the best members we've had at PLC, and North Star has had the same experience. But there is a potential problem with having a high number of existing homeschoolers as your members. Homeschooling families have often already built a life for themselves and don't look to you for the level of support that people leaving school need. Therefore, they most often want to be part-time members, attending a day or two a week. The part-time nature of their membership can make it hard to build community." Reference 232. This doesn't mean the same will apply to your learning center, but I felt it was important to share. In the case of liberated learner centers, they are trying to build a business and need to find people who really need their support service and their community. That is where they are delivering the most value, so having lots of part-timers isn't sustainable for their business. This may be the complete opposite for your learning center. Maybe you would benefit greatly from having lots of part-time people coming through. Maybe you yourself only want to be involved part-time because you are off doing amazing things independently and don't want to be a full-time member of the community. These are all decisions that are up for you to decide. I'm only here to offer you the insights and resources I've gathered to try and equip you as best as I can. I recently attended a training by the International Association of Co-Learning Communities held at Workspace Education, where I learned a couple good ideas for recruiting your first members. One was to run small events in the community that give people a small taste of the type of things that you are doing in your space. This is sort of a show and tell. For example, the co-founders shared stories of setting up information tables at community farmers markets, where they showed off projects the teens created or had attractive science demonstrations like creating giant bubbles. Describing creating giant bubbles is tough to explain in words, but if you search YouTube for how to make giant bubbles, you will see how this is a good attention grabber. Reference 233. While Workspace was mainly targeting parents, another insight they gained can be adapted to your specific circumstances. They noticed a lot of their members were bringing groceries into the Workspace kitchen in Whole Foods bags. This implied that the type of people attending their learning center were also the type of person that shopped at Whole Foods. This meant Whole Foods was a good place for them to post flyers to reach their target audience. This is not to say your target audience is also shopping at Whole Foods, but this is a good example of making an observation about their existing members and using that information to try and find more similar people. You'll probably have to deal with criticism for, in the older generation's eyes, rebelling against the system. I want you to be prepared for this. You are doing something different, and people like to judge others for being different. When it comes to teens being different, adults seem to have no reason to hold back in expressing their condescending opinions, often shaming young people for their chosen paths. This can be tough to deal with if you are going it alone, and it'll be important to find support systems like family, mentors, fellow members of your learning center, the library staff, teens on the peer unschooling network, and other unschooling parents. This will make you feel much less alone in this journey. At the same time, keep in mind there are also a lot of adults who think self-directed learning is awesome. Don't let the fear of the naysayers keep you from getting out there and promoting what you are doing so you can attract the right supporters. If things feel uncomfortable, this is part of the growing process of trying something new. Dylan Marcus described his first weeks at a new Sudbury school. The first few weeks were kind of awkward because no one had ever had this experience before. Even Brian and the other staff member, Paige, They didn't have much experience with starting a school like that. They didn't know what to do. For us, the kids that were there, it was a very odd experience because we'd never been anywhere like that. Most of us weren't even unschooled. There was only like 5 of us. It was really like everyone being at their first day of school. After a while, we started to talk more and open up and become pretty good friends. We're all really good friends now. Reference 234. Always remember, there are many paths to self-directed learning that you can pursue which don't require you to start your own learning center. While I think this grassroots method will help transform our culture and make self-directed learning accessible to the masses, there are already tens of thousands of unschoolers around the U.S. that are thriving through their own means. I suggest the approach of starting your own zero-tuition learning center because I think this model could overcome the barriers that prevent more people from pursuing self-directed learning. Don't feel that just because you are struggling to create your own learning center, that the only alternative is to run back to the school system. Be creative and resourceful and persist. Some closing thoughts on getting started from Neil Karkanis and Dylan Marcus, 2 teens who helped organize the South Jersey Sudbury School. From Neil. If you're a kid who legitimately wants to start a learning center in your area, the first thing you need to do is change your attitude from needing someone else to start it. If you think you really need an adult to start it, think about it. You're saying, I really need an adult to start a school that kids govern. That's a weird mix. People like to sit around and wait for someone to take this action. There is no specific person that says, this is the type of person that starts a Sudbury school. You just have to go out there and try and do it and start talking to people. From Dylan. I would say get on the internet and be proactive. Read everything you can about free schools and other experiences. Go to your local library and see if you can give talks and have meetings. A lot of libraries have free meeting spaces. Just spread the word. You really can start your own school, and it's really awesome. If you can free just one person from a public school mindset, it's such a great accomplishment. It's like being in a cult, and then you're free. It's awesome. If this just inspires one person to start a Sudbury school, it'd be great. Reference 235. If this still sounds crazy to you, don't worry. The next chapter will share some stories of teens who have already succeeded in creating their own learning centers, and you can too.